What's going on YouTube? It's Donnie B all day. So here's the deal. My Crocodile Dundee knife, my Down Under Outback Eclipse Bowie. I didn't break it, but I'm doing a little something to it. And what happened was I threw this thing, hit sideways into a tree. This used to be connected right here, right? And when it hit, this bent. It bent just a little bit because, you know, this sticks out farther than this. So when it hit the tree, it made a little bend. So while trying to figure out what I did, I thought I just damaged the leather. Turns out I didn't just damage the leather, I bent this. So in order to fix the issue, I was thinking of straightening it, but I know that once you bend a piece of steel, especially a piece that's just welded on, actually it's not even welded on, it was a straight cut and thread. The rat tail, once you bend a rat tail and then bend it back, you lose dexterity. It's going to become weak. So I did what any, you know, smart person who has a $300 Bowie would do. I grabbed myself a pair of pliers and I started wiggling the crap out of it, and then I hit it with a mallet and snapped it off. Why? Why would I do that to this? Because I thought, who cares? I'm going to make it cool. Instead of having a bent piece and have it a little bit off, I thought, what if I customize my $300 Bowie? So what I did is I got this gorgeous piece of wood right here, and what I'm going to do is hit that right there, drill a little pinhole in it, and I'm going to carve it out to this length. Right, and I'm going to reshape it to match this. So I'm going to go from the leather to the wood and have a two-tone handle that's pinned in. Now, instead of my standard pins that I normally use, I took a coat hanger, right? And you know the part of the coat hanger near the top that's all twisted? Well, that's what I'm using. So basically I clipped here, and I left this part on there for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole about this size in through there, boop, and in through the wood, boop, and I'm going to put it in, and that's how I'm going to hold the wood on the end of the tang. And so I will go from leather to that really beautiful wood and have a nice strong pin in there, and it's going to be very cool once it's all done. So this is all glued still, you know what I mean? It was a pain in the butt getting all this off, but I did it. And all I'm going to do is drill a little tiny hole in there, and then I have to drill the wood through here to the depth of this. So I have about an inch or so of wood that I need to drill through, and basically the way to do it is to take your tape measure that I never lose because I always know exactly what I'm doing. And all right, so I don't know where my tape measure is. It's in here somewhere. But I'm going to measure the distance that I need to go into that, hit that, and then I'm going to start carving this. Going to make it really nice, and I'm going to try and match it exactly to the shape of the existing handle. And that's what I'm going to do. So don't know where that tape measure is still. Stay with me. This is going to be an adventure. Yes, I purposely broke a $300 Bowie with the thought of making it better. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. No more brass pommel. I'm not a huge fan of the brass pommels. So I'm not going to be heartbroken to be without this. But I think that wood on the end is going to look pretty damn sweet. So there's my rat tail. This is screwed onto that right there, and this goes on, you know, it's drilled to about that deep somewhere in there, and it's drilled, it's screwed in there. Don't need this, don't need it. Just going to pin on a piece of wood, and you'll all see it when it's done. So as soon as I get to that point, when I see it, you'll see it. We're all going to see it together. That's what we're going to do. So let me get to work. All right. So ding dong Donnie B all day moment of the day. I was looking for my tape measure, couldn't find it anywhere. That's what my camera's leaning against. That's why I couldn't find it. So anyway, look at that. So you see the little double pin there, right? It's a little decorative pin. All set, all glued, all drilled, all good. Now all I have to do, well, besides letting it dry, is shape it. Guys, this is going to be pretty cool. It's going to add a new twist to the Crocodile Dundee buoy. Now, I was looking at some photos of the original Crocodile Dundee knife from the movie, and I was pretty cool to see that the whole thing was, it didn't even have all these really cool shapes to it. It was like a beaded skin, like a faux skin with a skin wrap over it, and that's all it had. And then it had the the brass handguard and the brass pommel at the front and back. This one is going to not have that. I'm just going to carve the wood and give that a nice angle. But as far as everything else, I mean, it's going to be completely different, but it doesn't matter, since the remakes of the Crocodile Dundee knife, none of them actually use the two different style of what do you call it, animal skin. So it doesn't really matter. So being away from the original as far as that concerned, it's already there. You know what I mean? It didn't have a leather wrapped handle like this in the movie, and that is pretty much the only difference between this one and that one. And I think the original one had a little cut right here, and that's it. This is the closest to the movie, but it's not exact. There's no copy made for the movie. There's no copy made. You can't get them. So if you want a Crocodile Dundee knife, you have to get one of these. If you want something that's close to the original, being as close to the original as you can get, you can get like a Cisco makes one, and a couple of the cheap brands make some of this exact shape, but you're not going to find one that's sized and shaped as close to the movie as you're going to get with the Down Under Knives version, which is this. I think my handle, because it was kind of skinny right here in the leather, I think my handle is going to be a little bit better. I gave myself slightly more room than the original tail end of this thing, which came just about there, somewhere in there. That's about where it was, so it's going to have just a little bit. It's not going to have as big as a finger guard at the rear. Not going to need it. It's not going to matter. All I know is this thing is going to be very cool, very comfortable at the end. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pencil in the shape that I want, pencil in the lines that I need to follow, and then I'm just going to follow it. And that's it. After that, it just becomes artist eye and see exactly how I want it to end up. The top is almost pretty much there. I actually made it come down, and the reason is because that's going to save me sanding time. So I just have to knock off the edges. I don't have to make it come down because it's already there. Bada boom, bada bing, you know what I mean? Save me some time. And that also gives me more material down here, which would have been less if I made it this way, you know what I mean? If I made it that straight like that, it would have come up a hair more, and I would have had less down here. So I kind of had to do it to give myself as much as I could in that area. I think it's going to be pretty badass, honestly. I think it's going to be pretty cool. And everybody knows the rat tail. Anybody who's ever seen a video on this knife where the knife has taken damage, it took damage right there at the rat tail. Mine bent, didn't snap off, but other people's have snapped off. Best way to fix it yourself. You know what I mean? Just do something different to it, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. After, depending on how the wood looks, I might do a clear on it and make it a pure, beautiful two-tone, or I might even put some dark stain on it and bring it close to that and still leave it a two-tone. But I'm thinking I might want to keep it lighter. Who knows? You know what I mean? It's just because of the brass. But, you know, I change my mind all the time. So right now, what it's going to come down to is just reforming. And as soon as that's done, this knife is ready for action again. And I can't wait because I love this thing. Even while the thing was bent and not on there great, I took some flex tape, which is really strong tape. It's really good. And I taped the hell out of the end just so I wouldn't break it off. And I was out there and I continued to use it. and it was just still performing. I mean, and the blade is still mirror polished. The only thing that's on there is my hand marks with all the freaking glue on my hands. You know, I gotta invest on some little rubber gloves. But right there, that's it. Okay, I'm gonna go shape it. I finished it, and it only took less than an hour to do the whole thing. I'm gonna show you. What I did is I took that wood. It's wet now because I put some poly on there, but I took that wood and I did everything I need to do. There's my pin, there's my shape, and basically what I did is I hit it with a torch and I burned it all up real nice. It's still drying right there, but I burned it up real nice, and then I took some Minwax, some of this right here, the classic gray stain, and I put it on after I burned it, and then I shot it with some, I don't get paid for Minwax, I didn't even realize this is the product I had, but some fast drying polyurethane, so I gave it a little bit of poly, and I even sprayed over the leather, so it's going to be rough and rugged just the way Crocodile Dundee would have wanted it. Now here's the thing with this. This is actually stronger now than it was when I bought it. So this knife is going to be better than how it came in the box, because with that glue on there, that JB Weld, that is not coming off. I made it to where it is super, super comfortable in the hand. I gave it a little bit more stretch back here so you have more room in the pinky so you can use it. If it's a fighting knife, you want to use it. And it is just fantastic. I can't mess around with it right now because it's still wet. It says fast drying. I don't know how fast or how slow. But I have to say that I know the pin is going to hold up, because if you ever took a hanger and you got that twisty part and you tried to bend it, even tried to unwrap it, it's a pain in the butt. It's pretty strong stuff. So that's going to be pretty good. You can see that leather meets up perfectly. I mean, I sanded it down a little bit. That's why it's all scratchy looking. But once it's all dried up, it's going to look really good. So, I mean, at this point, if I wanted, I could take some animal skin and go around it. It'd be a lot easier since I have less of a curve right here. You can see how I still brought it up, but I didn't go way up, you know what I mean, like it did on the original. And that's why it's more comfortable, because with the original it was thin, really, really thin in here, and it didn't give your pinky a lot to hold. The way it sits now, your pinky has a whole lot of real estate. You can grab onto this, and this little swell right here is enough to keep you locked on. This thing, I mean, look at it. Look at it. That two-tone, that looks fantastic, I think. I freaking love the two-tone. This is something that I plan on using a lot. I mean, a lot. I love the Crocodile Dundee Bowie. I love Crocodile Dundee. I mean, if that's your childhood, then you know. But look at that thing. This thing is going to be so strong. And when we're talking about, oh, you know, I lose everything. I put stuff down. You know, I pick stuff up. I put stuff down. Oh, it's way over here. This was the end, right? And sure, it was pretty. Right? He had a little brass right there, a little brass right there. But that was all that was holding on, is that little rat tail. And once you knock that off, you have a round tang. And it comes, and it's just a perfectly sized, perfectly done tang. It comes all the way to about here, somewhere in there, maybe here, wherever the pin is. It's about, I don't know, a quarter inch, half inch away from the pin. So it's about right there, is top of the tang. All I did is round it off to where I broke off the, when I snapped off my rat tail. I just smoothed it out, rounded it off, and then that was it. That was it. It was pretty simple after that. Is it still? Yeah, it's a little wet to the touch. It's still, you know what I mean? It's got a lot of meat in there. And with this, that nice wood, as thick as it is, and with your handle is, that's going to be the much of your grip. Most of your grip is going to be right. Look how much it sticks out now. It was just a little bit before. So this is going to give me a lot to grab onto. Man, I'll tell you what, DJ Billy B. This thing gives me a whole lot to hold on to. And the recovery is better because of the extra room I have in my pinky. I think the look, if you look at this compared to how it looked before with just the black leather and the brass, the brass end cap right here, the brass pommel, I think it looks so much better. Well, than that, just a little bit longer. I think it looks so much better than that. One guy out here on YouTube is a guy named Chad B. Roth. He's a really, really great artist in North Carolina, and we were talking, and he hates a lot of the brass accents on the pieces. So Chad B. Roth, when you watch this with your girls, with Emily, what's up, Em? What's up, Gab? What I used to call you, Gab. What I used to call you, Gab. Gabarella. That was what I used to call you, Gabarella. Yeah, check it out, man. Chad, you're gonna dig this, man. You're an artist, and you're gonna know good art. That's just pretty right there. That's just pretty. And when it's sticking out of that sheath, that's what you're gonna see. That's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see the brass to the black to the wood, and it's a nice dark wood. It's just hot, man. It's just hot. So it's getting pretty much there. It's almost fully dried, so I can go play with this thing and swing it around a little bit. But I'll tell you what, guys, if you go out and buy yourself a $300 Bowie, right, and you're playing with it and you're messing around and you're farting around with it, and you somehow, because it's not common, it's not happening with everybody, but somehow if you damage this, if you bend it the way I did, or if you snap it off like other people do, do not think that it's the end of your knife. Your knife is just getting started, because eventually it's going to look like this. If all you do is put on a piece of wood, drill a hole, make it bad, man. This is just smoking. It's really cool, and you can see those lines, those like stripes that are still in there. Oh man, that is good looking. Wow, that is good looking. So I'm going to let this finish drying, and then I am going to have some fun. I like it so much better now. I like this better than the original. It's just more knife in the hand now, and it's going to be better suited for banging it around. That's awesome. That's awesome. There it is. There it is. Your old Down Under's Outback Bowie improved. Right on. Did I look at that? Did you say I was watching? Hey, it is improved. So, speaking of improvement, I am Donnie B all day. Until next night.